That is a leak. And unfortunately, that leak arrived the day before we went on holiday, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Thankfully, on the positive side, a mate of mine is a roofer. So I've arranged for him to come over today. Unfortunately, on his way over, his van's broken down. So he's waiting to be picked up. He's got a rental van booked, which hopefully will be available for him, and then he'll be over later on today. But in the meantime, it's not raining too heavily. There's some very light drops coming in. It's basically, we think it's around the lead work on one of the bits on the roof. I don't know. He knows what he's talking about. He's going to come and fix it. So hopefully that will be sorted. But today, what I want to talk to you about is the announcement from the UK government about when petrol and diesel cars are going to be scrapped. And what's in a date? Is it really that bad? We're looking a fair way in the future, but you know, people are making a big fuss about how far away it is. I don't think it's that big a deal, but I'll talk to you about that in a bit. Well, the big news while I was away was the fact that the UK have announced that they're going to stop all production or any sales of fossil cars or fossil fueled cars in the UK from 2040. Now that date obviously is 20 odd years away from now, and a lot of people are kind of getting very upset about the fact that that date is so far in the future. For me, I don't think the date really matters. I think the fact that we've set a time limit now, that's what matters. Now our time limit doesn't fall in line with the likes of Norway or the Netherlands, who are 2025, but we do fall in line with the fact that we want to stop fossil fueled cars from being sold in the country. Now there is some caveats, and I do think there's a few bits around. You can still have a hybrid. You know, we're not sure of all the details, the ins and outs. I think there's going to be a full plan, sort of transport strategy, which will outline not just the vehicles, but the way that the infrastructure is going to be worked out, the road system, etc., etc. I think they're talking about March next year, March 2018. But the fact that we've now got a date will start now focusing people's minds to looking at an alternative. People will be thinking, okay, well maybe my next car will be all right, but the car after that, I can't really be thinking about buying a fossil fueled car, because for one, the taxes are going to go through the roof, I would suggest. This is probably going to be the way that they're going to phase them out more than anything. And two, you know, when there's more and more and more of these EVs, there's going to be less and less and less petrol stations. The infrastructure is going to die out. Obviously, people that work in those industries, they're going to evolve, and I don't think that's going to be an issue, whether it's mechanics or people that work in petrol stations and things. I think they'll just evolve. Manufacturers, they're obviously going to have to relook at or revisit their long-term strategies. They can't any longer think about in 10 years time solely building ICE vehicles. In 10 years time, I would suggest that the majority of their range is going to have to be EV based, whether that's like a hybrid or a full EV. We'll wait and see how quickly they start mass producing those. You know, Volvo were a little bit ahead of the game. They've obviously seen this coming, and they've already announced that their whole fleet is going to come in line with it. And obviously, the more these cars that are built, the more EVs that are built, and the more that are on the roads, the more people will look at them, the more the infrastructure will grow, the easier it will get to own one, and then people that are very skeptical at the moment will start looking at them, and the more they start looking at them, the more chance of them buying them, the more of them that buy them, the more people that they'll convert. And I think now that we've got this date, it is going to start a bit of a domino effect. Because at the moment, let's be honest, EVs are a bit of a kind of a niche market. To buy one, you've either got to know somebody with one, or have had somebody explain it to you and talk you through it, or you've got to be kind of a little bit interested in some way in whether it's something new, gadgets, something a little bit different. You've just got to have that kind of interest in niche things to even look at them. But obviously the more people that have them, the easier it's going to be to explain to people what they're about. And let's be honest, the thing that's going to sell them is how cheap they are. Now, I know people talk about the initial outlay being quite expensive, but let's be honest, you know, we'll see what the 2018 Leaf's like, and the Model 3 when it comes over here, but I don't think they're any more expensive than a reasonable family car, you know, a nice one. So the cost of running them is that much cheaper, so it's a cheaper car to own. Now, as time sort of fast forward, the taxes on ICE cars are going to go up, so your road license is going to go up. Now, let's not kid ourselves, the more EVs are on the road, the more chance there is of us having to pay our excise license on our EVs. Now, maybe it will start with the hybrids and start just building up, but the money has to come from somewhere to maintain the roads, etc. So, you know, we know that's going to happen at some point. However, it's going to be substantially cheaper than it is to run a petrol or a diesel car. So there's another incentive. I think cities, in particular the big cities, so like London, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, I think as the years go on, they are going to introduce no emission zones where you won't be able to take a petrol or a diesel car into the city at all. Perhaps if you do, you've got to pay a big fine in order to do it. So, you know, as this starts to happen, again, the uptake will increase because people will see it's a lot cheaper to run an EV, and you know, the benefits of it for the environment are almost kind of place second place to it, because it's cheaper to put the electric in, and it's cheaper to drive it around, and it's cheaper to get into places. You know, you look at Norway, massive tax breaks, free parking, free charging, really good infrastructure. And in Norway, I think they've now hit 50% of all car sales are EV cars. So, you know, if we can start getting towards that, and they're talking about 2025 being their cut-off date for all ICE cars, well, what are we? We're 7.5 years away from that. Well, they're already halfway there. You know, we've got all this time left to go. You know, within 7 years of being close to our cut-off date of 2040, I think we're going to be pretty much there anyway. So for me, the date doesn't matter. The fact that a date's been set at all is the big news, and I think we're all going to head towards it now. And I think that kind of snowball effect that has already started of people buying EVs is just going to increase. It's going to pick up momentum, and within 10 years I think we're going to hit that 50% beyond mark of EV sales. Well, it's now nearly 4 o'clock and one of them's dressed. We've after that holiday and getting back and all the stuff we did, we've just had a very lazy day today. They've been drinking hot chocolate, watching telly, lying around in their pyjamas. I think they need a recharge, to be honest. And speaking of the holiday, I've only put one vlog up that includes the holiday. I was recording throughout and I was vlogging throughout, but having edited the first one and then looked at the videos I've got left over, I'm of the opinion that possibly I'm just being a bit self-indulgent, and all I'm going to do is upload some videos of our family holiday. And we all know how dull it can be watching other people have fun on holiday. So I'm not going to put those up. I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing this was our first time at Disney, here's some top tips. I might do a separate video on that and then put a few of the bits and pieces on that we did. But I think I'm just going to drop back in now, just doing my my normal vlogs. Well, there's not much more going on today. Hopefully that's that roof fixed now. He's put some new felt underneath. There's some holes in there, and hopefully sort out the tiles. I think whether some water was getting through somewhere or through some of the gap in the lead, I don't know. But he was up there. He seemed to sort it all out, albeit it was absolutely chucking it down, so it wasn't that pleasant out there. But hopefully that's sorted now. So that pretty much brings today to an end. If you've enjoyed today's vlog, remember to like it and share it, and if you don't do so already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back in a couple of days when we're getting the new tyres fitted to the car. So I'll see you then.